Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming to the next episode of Within the Cauldron, where we have secrets and mysteries that lies within the cauldron. And tonight, my co-host is my sister Drew from Scotland, and I have her be my co-host tonight because she really loves this author and everything. And I'm all about making memories come true for others. So, to further ado, Drew, why don't you introduce our guest?
Well, tonight we really have a treat tonight, guys. We have got Cyndi Brannen on from within the keeper of her keys on within the cauldron tonight, and I'm really excited. And I'm just home for work, so I'll try and calm down as well. So, guys, this means a lot to me because when I was first trying to discover who Hekate was and if I could reach her, is it possible for her to reach me, a little simple person in Scotland? I discovered Cyndi's website on the Covina Institute, and I was really intrigued by it because she made it look so simple to connect to her, and all the rituals she done were so easy to follow on. And I didn't have confidence at that time to actually join in, maybe actually join her website and be an actual sister in the Covina Institute. But I did follow on really, really intensely, and the YouTube channel and things as well. And then I bought the book, and it was amazing to me because it really did make me connect to Hecate and the studying that I done, and everything was just amazing. So tonight, guys, we have got the lady herself here from the keeper of her keys and many more books as well on top of that. So yes, Cyndi, so I welcome you to Within the Cauldron.
Thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be here. I've got my little cauldron right here,
Oh,
and I'll light it. Um, when y'all asked me to come on, I was so excited because my book that is coming out in June of this year is called "Entering Hecate's Cauldron."
yeah. I know. I saw that. I kind of like, oh, wow. The goddess kind of guiding me to somebody again, and I thought
Yep.
this is going to be great because your book comes out in June. And I was going to talk about it later, but let's talk about it now. Because, you have really all these fantastic books, Entry Hecate's Cave, Garden, and now the Cauldron. Would
Mhm.
you and keep your and the keeper of her keys? Would
Yeah.
you say these are like a step by step way of anybody to learn about Hecate and how to get started on the path with Hecate?
Um, I think that's so interesting. And it's a question I get asked quite often. We've got some mugwort, some frankincense, bay laurel, and a little bit of basil. If anyone's wondering what's burning in the cauldron today, um, I get asked this question quite a bit. Like, what's the order to do my books in?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's like where you are at in your journey. The Keeping Her Keys book is really about developing that big, um, like a big connection, a meaningful relationship with Hecate as a means to better understand yourself. I'm a psychologist. I abide at the crossroads of modern life and the deeper world. And so this book is designed as a course that can help people not only connect to the goddess, connect to Hecate and the divine feminine, learn different things like meditation, card readings, casting spells,
Mm-hmm.
but also is within this kind of framework of understanding yourself better, whatever that looks like for you. And I know, Drew, you've got a whole journal there filled with notes from the Keeping Her Keys book.
What I found really great, guys, when I discovered Cyndi, I was also on a discovery path for myself as well, to who I was and things. So I think through the way that she did it and with the lessons, the 3 self energies really helped me, because she lets you understand who the lower self is, who the inner self is, and who your higher self is. And the way that she does it really does make you connect not only to Hekate, but really to yourself. And then Hekate is really there in the background guiding you. And then when you do the work, that's when you really feel Hecate's energy. It's as if when you do the work on yourself, then that is the reward. Hekate is there in the background, just really, really pushing you forward. And that doesn't really come to fruition until you start to know who you are, start to figure out what you're really wanting out your path as well. So I feel as if it's an overall teaching the keeper of our keys. I feel as if it's a great connection to you and then Hekate. So you probably meant the book to be like that, but that really is what it is. It's an amazing book to learn who you are.
Well, thank you for saying that. And it's funny with the Keeping Her Keys book, which the 2nd edition is available now. So this is really exciting for me that there were some things I wanted to revisit in the book. So the 2nd edition is available. For me, I set out to write the Keeping Her Keys book because that's the book I wanted. Like, I didn't write the book for an audience. I wrote the book for myself. And I've been teaching courses and about, merging witchcraft and personal development for quite a few years at that point. And I had a lot of ideas and exercises and rituals that were kind of tried and true from teaching. And I thought, if it would be great if this was all in a book, and perhaps it might resonate with some people. And it's resonated with a lot of people. It's been selling and selling for all these years, and now it's in a 2nd edition after 5 years. So yeah, it is that book. And also it's like the book is a channeled experience too for me. That yes, I put structure and did some things, but the content, the data was very much like a transmission from Hekate, that it was like, this is how things must be. There's this ritual and that ritual. And so for me, the book is really a representation of a way to, like you were saying, know yourself better, know what you want better, while also developing a truly spiritual practice of witchcraft that includes witchcraft, that it's not just about casting spells. It is about this deepening connection. So thank you for that.
No, definitely, yeah.
Drew, why don't you go ahead with the first 2 questions, hon?
Okay. So, Cyndi, we have set some questions for you tonight. I hope you don't mind. They don't go too deep, but they are good to get to really know you and let the audience get to know you a little bit better. So, how did you get started in your path?
That's a great question. I want to ask the 2 of you that. I don't know. I was the weird little girl in the woods, picking up sticks and rocks and leaves and doing things with them when I was really small. So is that where we got started? I don't know. As far as, doing this as a career, it's been just about 8 years since I left my mainstream career and really answered the call to do this full time. And yeah, I think I was always this way. This is just who I am.
It's amazing that you say that though, because I think we are born the way we are, spiritual, witches, whatever you want to call it. And then life kind of happens, doesn't it? And it's not until you reach maybe, I don't know, because it's different for everybody. For me, it was when I reached about 40 years of age and I had a little mini breakdown. We lost my son-in-law, so my daughter had to move back in with us with my grandson. He was only 2 or 3 at the time. So that was really devastating for me because I felt as if I was a really selfish person right up until then. I was on drugs. I used to go off on tangents and just really be who I wanted to be. And when my daughter had to move back in with me, my life was kind of over. That life was over for me because I felt I wouldn't could hide anything anymore. So it made me face up to who I was at that moment in time. So my life took a 360 because I had a kind of mini breakdown. So on the breakdown, I was on my toilet at 3-4 in the morning, just calling out to anything that would save me, really. And I seen and it was kind of in my vision's eye, but it was also there. It's hard to remember because I really wasn't a trauma at the time, but I seen something smiling at me, which I thought was the Grim Reaper at the time. And through the next day, and then when she smiled at me, I just knew everything was going to be okay. So the next day, waking up from that, I had a whole new lease of life. I just knew what I needed to do in life. I needed to get off the drugs. I needed to go for help that I should have went for in the first place. And I just knew everything I had to do. Could find the words for my daughter. I was there, and my life just took a 360 after that. And then I wanted to ghost hunt as well. So doing research online kind of made me step up to who I was supposed to be in life. And then that's when I kind of found all the witchcraft stuff. I wondered who it was. I didn't know what had happened. So through doing the research and things, I found that to ghost hunt, I would have to lower my vibration, things like that, and clear my energies and all this. So doing all of that, because this is not about me, but doing all that, I feel as if that's when I really found who I was. So I think we all are spiritual, but life kind of takes over. And then maybe your 40s, for example, when you take a breakdown, that's when you really find that you were this way all along. It's just that life kind of happened. People didn't believe you. People thought you were weird when you were playing in the woods as a kid and things, So I'd really totally get that, Cyndi, yeah. And your book helps to get back to who you are. It really does.
Oh, thank you so much for that. It's so interesting hearing you talk about having a breakdown. Like, I think we have to have a breakdown to break through.
Yes.
Right? Like, whatever is going on in our lives, like you were saying so rightly, that life happens.
Yeah.
There's a lot of conditioning that goes into, downplaying the intuition, downplaying magic, downplaying something as simple as like a connection to the moon or being able to talk to spirits. And and when we get to that point, those Hekate bathroom moments, I'm alone. I've had my Hekate bathroom moments. I've heard so many stories. It's like, those bathroom moments or, late at night. And it's like we are in despair. And, like she comes to us, right? Because she understands darkness, right? And she understands that darkness can destroy, and also that darkness is the cradle of healing and security and safety. That especially for those of us who are close to the moon, that there is something about the night that is sacred and safe in many ways, even though it does have the dangers, but there's just such a beautiful power of when we get to those points, when we fall down the stairs of life and she meets us at the bottom with like the key and the torch or a touch or a dream. Sometimes it's a terrifying dream, right? Sometimes it's a dream that scares the life back into us. Right? So it's not always gentle. I don't want to say that Hekate is always gentle.
Yeah. She kicked you up the bottom. Yes.
So how does it feel, Cyndi, when you hear like Drew, and I'm sure Drew is not the first person who has come up and said, Cyndi, your books have changed my life. I found my goddess. That has to be really good feeling.
It is deeply touching. It's a good feeling. I feel like a sense of like kinship and affiliation with you because my books have changed my life too. you know, the
Yeah.
content of them. So it's like we're in this together. Like
Yeah.
hail Hekate. You know, I'm the transmitter of this information, and you're the receiver,
Yeah.
and we're in it together. You know what I mean? Like we're learning and growing
We're
together.
all Hecate's daughters. We are.
Yeah. We
Yeah.
have a couple of comments here. Everybody's just dying to talk to you, Cyndi. So,
Well, we'll just continue with the questions just now. Or are you taking some audience questions?
I'm taking some questions now. Yeah. From Marie K. I had a dream one night when I was 7 years old. She came to me. I was frightened of her because she talked in riddles. One of the words was, "You never be alone."
Never. That's so beautiful. I've had
That
similar
is very
experiences.
beautiful.
It's
Yeah.
very, very beautiful.
That is very beautiful. And let's see. From Linda. Let's see. I didn't have a breakdown, but it was a lot of stuff piling up over the years. I got to the point where I just wanted to change myself. I know there is a better me out there. She's calling me.
Oh,
Listen
she
to
is.
that. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
amazing.
Linda.
That really is. Now I know you having something coming online. I saw on your, I think it was your Facebook page, a free online retreat from May 2nd and 4th.
Yeah, we do this every year. So Covina, which is my online coven organization, we celebrate our annual cycle that begins with Beltane each year. So every year it's our tradition that we have a free, like an open house weekend. And if anyone is interested in registering, you can go to keepingyourkeys.com, and you can follow the links there. You can also, yeah, the links are everywhere on my Substack, link tree. Just go. You do have to answer some questions. And then we'll be letting everyone in next week so they have time to settle in. And then they'll have a week or so after the retreat to catch up on any of the recordings that they missed. So something we do every year. We love it. Beltane in Hecate's garden, celebrating this time of the year and the return of the growing season.
Wow, I saw that and I was like, I have to admit, I was jumping for joy. I was, oh, cool. I'm not doing nothing that weekend. I know what I'm doing now. With the Covina Institute, how long ago did you start that? Because I know I have heard just along the wavelengths that everybody is just saying, talking about and saying how great it is and everything. So when did you start that? And did you start it for those like Drew and us to learn?
I did. So I first started, I actually, with, I recently celebrated the 8th anniversary of teaching online courses, with the arrival of, I do a lot of things with the astrology. So I start, so I start and end things based on certain astrological events. So it was 8 years ago, when Aries moved into the sun, that I first started teaching online classes. And then it'll be 6 years on the autumn equinox this year that I launched the Covina Institute in Mighty Networks. For me, it's very important to create a safe and supportive private space for all of us to explore witchcraft and Hekate. And, we do a lot of deep work. If you're familiar with my books, like the Keeping Her Keys book and its emphasis on understanding yourself, entering Hecate's cave, which is it's a shadow healing book. It's a deep book. And even my botanical witchcraft book, Entering Hecate's Garden, I have a Scorpio rising. I like it deeper and darker. So we needed a safe place for that. And so I felt called to start the Covina Institute and launch it. We have different programs. Right now, we're just focusing on the foundational year-long program. in Hekate and Witchcraft, which is called Hecate's Keys, unsurprisingly. And we offer an intermediary and advanced training. And at different points in the year, based on what we're doing, we offer different free programs and then general memberships and things like that. And if anyone wants to come in and they are not able to do so because of the cost, they can always reach out and email my wife and partner in Covina, Kristen at covinainstitute.com, not keepingherkeys.com.
Yeah.
It's clear in my head that Keeping Her Keys as an overall thing that has books and a podcast is different, but sometimes, than just Covina. So Kristen is the operations manager and co-high priestess of Covina. So you can connect with her if anyone has any questions about joining. I love it. And I have some exciting news, and I think maybe the two of you can relate to this.
Okay.
So Covina has been around a long time in Mighty Networks. I highly recommend, if someone is out there thinking about starting their own online coven or course platform, whatever it is, Mighty Networks is fantastic. And we recently found out that we are going to be featured as some of the best for all of Mighty Networks, which is a huge online.
Congratulations.
Yeah. So we'll be on
That brings tears to my eyes.
So we'll be on like the Mighty Networks landing page. And why I said that, I want to share it with all of you is because, first of all, we're witches, we're Hecatean witches, and we are used to the shadows, and we are used to people, perhaps people in the mainstream not acknowledging our accomplishments, right?
Yeah.
And so when they asked, I talked to Kristen about it, and I said, well, should we do it? It's like, it's not really our thing. We're not trying to be mainstream. We want, like, we're fussy about the witches that we want in the coven. And then we decided, we should do it because
you've got to.
It might help other witches who are thinking about doing something like this to say, I can do that too. Look at what they've done.
Yes.
Right. So we're excited about that.
That is just
brilliant.
That's remarkable. That's really great. Speaking of your wife, you just got married back in December, maybe
4 months ago.
Oh my!
Congratulations on that too.
Congratulations to you both. I've been married for 40 years this year, so only advice I can give you is just compromise, 50-50 and compromise. That's it.
My best advice is just keep talking to each other and you can't go wrong. No secrets. Yeah, no secret.
But tell Kristen congratulations too. And tell her thank you for sharing your time with us, because we do appreciate it.
Definitely.
And so does your audience here. Let's see. We have, from Kim.
Welcome on, everybody.
We have the Beltane retreat is fantastic. A great introduction into the coven. And Linda is saying, I love Covina. Nobody know me, and yet they have been very supportive. It's beautiful. And let's see. And I've always been interested in her recently. I've had some words saying, let me help you walk your darkness and understand your pain. This could be her going through it a lot. That's our sister Willow from the UK. Thank you, Willow, for sharing that. And I'm sure Cyndi appreciates all of these comments that's coming in for her.
Congratulations.
Oh, yeah. But I guess we're going to get on with everything else. So,
well, there is another. Well, you want me to do the second question, Chrissy?
Well, why don't you go ahead and do question number 7 right now? Because the reason why we do question 7 is because we actually do this. And
right. Okay.
Go ahead.
There's Hekate night. Can you tell the audience about what Hekate night is, please?
Oh, I love talking about Hecate's night. So Hecate's night is I mean, first of all, maybe we should just break it down a little bit. So there are different modern Hecate's nights that are indexed to calendar dates. So I believe there's one in August. There's a couple in November. So these are modern events that have, let's say, loose connections to ancient rituals.
All right,
So
okay.
those are calendar dates. So there's
Right.
one in August, and then there's a couple in November that are specific calendar dates. But then, inspired by practices in the ancient Mediterranean, the night of the new moon or the dark moon, the spiritual dark moon, when there's no moon visible, practices dating back about 2,500 years, that is Hecate's night.
All
Like
right.
Hekate has a special night. You just think for a minute that in that world, their calendar was lunar, not solar.
Right, okay.
So, right. So the month started and ended on the night that there was no moon visible. That was the
Right.
end of the month. I know
Yeah.
we call it the new moon today, right? But
Right.
to them it was the dark moon, and it was the end of the month. It was the crossroads between one month and the other. And
Makes
so,
sense. Uh-huh.
right? So that was reserved for rituals of propitiation to Hecate, for her protection, and so on. So that is, if you've heard of Hecate suppers, which is the act that a lot of us modern practitioners do of taking a meal or other offerings to a crossroads on the night of the dark new moon, which we call the new moon. That going out there and leaving a supper, that dates back over 2,000 years that people have been doing that from. So to me, when you say Hecate's night, my mind goes to the night of the dark moon. But we also need to keep in mind that there are modern kind of calendar dates. I think it's
Right.
August the 13th, I want to say.
Yeah,
And I think
August.
it's
We always do
November the
August
16th.
13th.
Yeah, August 13th and November the 16th and November the 30th, I think. I mean, every night can be Hecate's night. Come on.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah. Every night is Hecate's night.
We have Sister Willow across the UK who wants to know, how can she connect to Hecate?
This is such a great question. And there's so many different ways to kind of open ourselves up to Hecate. And I always want to say, pay attention. Like just pay attention, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think sometimes when we are really drawn to a goddess, that we can get so busy with, I got to get this ritual right, or I got to do this offering right, or I got to do this right. And we're so like busy on all of this stuff that we lose sight of what it is we're actually desiring, which is a connection to the goddess, right? And, I write rituals, I teach meditations, I love all these things. And at the same time, I'm always going to say, the best way to connect with Hecate is to just get quiet, light a candle, if you can be safely in a dark room with a candle lit, and just call her name.
Yeah.
Just open yourself up and try to get over yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Try to just set all of that aside. Don't worry about what your offerings won't be well accepted by her. If someone tells you that Hecate is going to get you or smite you down, don't believe it. Hecate is this vast primal presence of the merger of, the darkness with the kind of like the ebb and flow of life and death and the cycles. Like, she is not concerned if we give her carnations instead of roses. Like, she's not going to stress about that. Like, it's Hecate. It's not, you know what I mean? Like, this isn't your sister-in-law. Who really hates carnations. So I will always say that, like, just try to get over yourself a little bit and just sit. And then, someone in the text chat already said something about, like, doing like an inventory and looking back at your life, at dreams or uncanny experiences you've had. And I will bet that she has already been there, because if
Yeah.
you're feeling drawn to her now, she is already with you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's your job to pay attention.
Yeah.
And, and get over kind of yourself and the idea that you're not worthy or you've got to do specific things. Just pay attention and like open up dreams. Hecate is the queen of the dream world, right? Like she rules the night.
Yeah.
And that deeper world of spirits and dreams, like that's her territory. So look in your dreams. I bet you'd already find her. She might not look like Hecate. I've had some wild Hecate dreams. One time I dreamt she was hosting a game show.
Probably was.
Just pay attention. She may not look like a stereotypical goddess.
Yeah.
She will present without a fault how you need to see her. Right?
Yeah, I agree with
She'll
that.
show up how you need to see her. I hope that makes sense to everybody.
No, it does make sense, because my husband's back here while you're talking about Hecate. Okay, he's like in tears because he's like, "Oh yeah, that is so right," because he's just like looking at the goddess statue right now, and he's just almost in tears, which kind of makes me cheer up, because it's a passion that you have for Hecate. It's a passion you have for really any goddess.
Mm-hmm.
The passion comes from within, which makes your whole body just kind of tingle and shake with the of love of the goddess. And he was telling me, he goes, "Oh, I just love this woman. I just love this woman." And I'm pointing downstairs, like, I got her books downstairs, and he's just like, "Oh, she's just so great." So I just want to kind of say that to you, because when you were speaking, he was agreeing and also in tears. Also in tears. So, we do have Sherry was saying that I'm very connected, and here it's just my grieving is playing on me. God, we have such amazing comments here. Linda wants to know, is Hecate a trickster? Trickster.
Well, that's an interesting question, isn't it? So I think maybe we should start by defining what we mean by a trickster. A trickster is a spirit that may kind of do things to spin us around.
Yeah, I wouldn't believe you would do that. No.
Ultimately, they're trying to teach us something. Like, it's for our own good. So I guess, like, if you are familiar with like animal spirits, it would be like, like here in North America, like the raccoon spirit, or like the fox spirit is a bit of, it's known as a trickster. Like it kind of does things in a certain way, and they can kind of like make us topsy-turvy, yet it's teaching us something. It's helping, it's helping us really see the way. So that's like a trickster spirit. And there's many different trickster spirits and trickster deities. And there's usually a sense of, I would call, like joviality or lightheartedness to what they're doing in their trickery. So I would say Hecate isn't a trickster in that kind of definition. And I would say she can be tricky.
Definitely. Don't ever tell you're going to do something and don't do it, because she will kick you up the butt.
She will.
Yeah.
She won't get mad at you about offerings, but if you say, like, I feel called to do this, or, I need to give up this habit or do this thing or whatever it is, and you don't do it, she is going to hold you accountable. But not in a malevolent way, but in a way like,
you learn your lesson.
Yeah, how's that working for you? Kind of way,
Marie says, every time I see her, she doesn't have a face. Why is that?
Well, that's a great question. Me too. I'll say this. I always see whenever with the exception of some dreams and other times she takes on different guises. For me, for the most part, when I just like, and when I want to like personify Hekate, she is a hooded woman with no face.
Yeah.
And I think, I think that also like maps onto her threefold nature. It's this idea that she is not one thing. That she is both no thing and all things and the things in between. And so I think her not having a face is a presentation that says, like that she is kind of,
She wouldn't want you to put a face on it because she is many things.
right, many faces, many sides.
Yeah.
So she doesn't need a face. I like that. She doesn't need a face. But that's why it's the same thing as why does she have three heads sometimes? It's like because she's so multifaceted. I think that's really interesting. That's a great question.
It is. Another question we have. I heard someone say she has a darker sense of humor. I can see that.
Like I said, I wouldn't classify her as a trickster, but she is tricky and she can be, I think the word is like sardonic, that dark sense of humor.
Yes, I agree.
Where it's like we say we have a big come to Hekate moment and we're saying we're going to do this thing. We're going to leave this job. We're going to make this situation better. We're going to have this hard conversation and we lay it all out for her and then we don't do it. And she can kind of be like,
why didn't you do it?
Have another
a little bit of like, she can be a little bit like that.
Yeah.
We have another question here before we go on to our questions. This is off Facebook that somebody was having a hard time trying to get on YouTube. This is from Didi. She says, could you please ask her about me getting a hold of her to talk with my coven? Her coven is a Hekate coven. I think what she wants to do, because we talked earlier, what she wants to know if there's any way you can like do maybe a video call or something with her coven to
like a kind of teach, like a presentation.
Talk maybe. So yeah, I guess what she meant about talk. Just talk with her coven. Okay. So I don't know if you do that or not, but it's a question from the audience and I want to give what the audience wants to hear. So
sure. So the best way, if what was her name again?
Her name is Didi.
The best way for Didi to get in touch with me about anything is to email info, like info at keepingherkeys.com, and we can discuss anything there.
Awesome. Great then. Great. To continue on with that question, Drew, why don't you do number 6, hon?
Yes, I will that. So, what made you decide to start writing?
I felt, Drew, you were talking earlier, like you just knew things had to change. Like you just knew it. And I just knew that was what I was meant to do. I just knew it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, excuse me.
Bless you.
Well, bless you.
Bless you.
The spirits. I have spirit sneeze. I don't know if either of you do that. Like if the spirits are around me, I give these little sneezes.
Spirits.
Here. Yeah, and I just did a lot in my life. Excuse me, a lot in my life to prepare. I knew I was being called by Hekate to start writing. First, I started with a blog, and I did a lot in my life to prepare. I was a single mom. Well, up until I got married, I'd been a single mom forever, and I had a lot to do. Like if you have a family and responsibilities, you kind of have to plan and prepare. And so I did all of that. And then and I just stuck to the plan. It was really, I really believe in soul contracts. Are y'all familiar with that concept?
Oh, yeah.
And I really believe that it was time, and that kind of paragraph in my soul contract, it was time to fulfill it and be brave, right? Like, and be brave and answer
Yes.
the call. Like, the time had come. So I don't really feel like I chose it. I feel like I was chosen.
Yeah, you were meant to do it. It was
Yep.
your purpose. Yeah, definitely. I agree, because the books that you write is, well, I've only read The Keeper of Our Keys, and it really has got that structure to find your spirituality. It really is one of those books that breaks it down for you as well. It's not just a book that you read and take from it with that. You really can use the book to make notes like I did and study what it is all about. And because it does do the chapters as a teaching. I think that is the difference between your book and many other books, is because it does do it that you can actually learn. And that's what I found was amazing with it. I'm going to get second edition.
Yeah. With now I've been trying, I have so many people on my Facebook, authors and stuff, so I try to follow all the authors. It's hard. It's a hard task, but you have some projects coming up besides the new book coming out in June, but also you do courses too as well. I know you said last night you was teaching and everything. So was that like an in-person teaching class, or I know you do stuff online because Drew took some, of course. So can you tell the audience how we can, or somebody who wants to take a course from you, did you go on the website and do it?
Yeah, go on the website, complete the registration form for the Beltane retreat. That's how we're welcoming people into the coven right now. And take the Hecate's Keys program. It's a really great program. It's for anybody. You don't have to be an experienced witch, but if you're a seasoned witch, you'll learn some new things. And we have a great supportive community, and I have a great circle of torchbearers and guides. So it's not just me and Kristen. We're surrounded by some really amazing expert witches who help everybody. So that's, if they want to take a course from me, come on into the Hecate's Keys program. That's where everyone kind of starts. And then we do have intermediary and advanced programs, but they are for those who have already gone through the Hecate's Keys program.
Right, that's interesting.
That is really interesting. I hope that helps a lot of people who are out there now listening in and saying, "Oh my gosh, Hekate, I need her." I really need to get a hold of her. And so, you are so inspiring for a lot of people. I mean, to bring this goddess into our lives and kind of give us a step by step from your books on how to do everything, the courses and everything. You seem very humble, very, it's like you're not doing it because of fame or fortune or anything. You do it because I can feel that you're doing it because of your heart and soul. You're very passionate about it, and I have to tell you, you don't get that too much from some authors, really. I mean, you know what I mean? I hope I'm saying that right. But yeah, you're very passionate about Hekate. And I think everybody, your readers, the audience, we all thank you for that, because
definitely
you don't see that too much, really.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for saying that. Like, I love what I do. Like, I love Hekate. She endlessly fascinates me and guides me. I love the craft part of witchcrafting. We're always doing things around here. You can see this is a talisman that we'll be working with in the coven. Kristen put that together because I was doing coven boss things, but Kristen put that together. So we're always, doing things, and I just love it all. Like, I love my candles and working candle magic, and I'm just like you said, I'm passionate because I love it, and I feel so privileged to do what I do. You know what I mean? Like, I live this, and I get to talk to other people about it. I get to write about it. I get to teach about it, and like, hail Hekate, right?
Yeah,
Like,
definitely.
Right.
Heal Hekate.
That is correct. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, we talked to several authors, and authors we talked to has been our favorites. You know, I mean, can't pick one. We can't pick any of the
That's
books.
like picking out who your favorite
Yeah,
child
it's like
is.
picking out who your favorite kid is. You know, and stuff.
You can't do it.
So the question to you, this might be a tough one, maybe. Out of your books, all your book, not the Hecate, you know, entering the Hecate gardens, but out of all the books that you have done, which one is your most favorite?
I mean, I love the Keeping Her Keys book. It'll always be a treasure to me, you know, because my relationship with that book is I bought this old rundown cottage, quite surprisingly, hail Hecate, the exact same week that the blog launched. It was very, very synchronous. It was very much like you're on the right path. And so this house, it really hadn't had anything done to it in over 20 years. It was
Wow.
something else.
Amazing to start over.
Yeah. So when I was writing the book, and you know, me and my two sons, like, you know, and you know, doing all the things for as low cost as possible. So like while I was writing the book, the house was in shambles. You know, like the kitchen was gutted. You know, I didn't have an office. You know, I was in the corner of the living room with the computer. You know what I mean? And writing this book in the corner of the living room with like wrapping paper over the windows because we had no curtains, you know. So when I think about writing the book, I honestly think about looking at these big bay windows in the living room covered with old Christmas wrap. So for me, it'll always be, you know, so special because it was just me by myself. You know, there were no expectations. I tried to sell the book to so many publishers, no one would buy it. And you know, so it was just, it'll always be like, I know you can't pick which children you like the best, but sometimes the one that you have first holds a special place in your heart.
Yeah.
Very true. Very, very true.
You know what I mean? Like, because, you know, and like with my kids, it was certainly that way. When I had my first son, when I was super young, and I was, you know, just like I always say, we grew up together, which is very different than my other son.
I was like my daughter.
Love them all the same, but at the same point, like there's something different, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it will always be. And then I wanted to do a second edition. Because there were things I wanted to like refresh in the original edition, and Moon Books was so kind and said, yeah, we've never done a second edition of anything before, but why not? And you know, and I love that book because it just, I get so many emails. Like I get emails every day from people who say that book has changed their lives, and it's a treasure to me to have to be the conduit to bring that out into the world.
Yeah, I know that book is, I mean, yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, it's, to me, I think it's a great book. If anybody wants to start learning about Hecate, it's just one of the best books around. Tell you the truth, because it's really good. But I'm biased, you know.
I'm too.
You're a good author. You know, all your books are, you know, fantastic and everything. So back with the kids now. So just as kind of like a fun off the wall question. You have two. Okay. So does your kids ever come up to you and says, "Mom, I'm your favorite," right? Right?
No.
Favorite. No.
No.
They
will tell me that they are my favorite. Like they, you know, like they'll be like, "I'm your favorite," right? Like they're just like, I'm your favorite son. One year, one of them gave me a card that said, you know, like, from your favorite son. Side. They both know in their hearts that they are my favorite, and that's good.
I
Yes.
have 4 kids. And so each of my kid would come up to me and go, "Mom, I'm your favorite, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, right." So one time when I was at work, I text each of my kids and says, "Psst, don't tell nobody. You're my favorite. I love you." All 4 of them, all 4 of my kids call me while I was at work. I go, "Mom, I knew I was your favorite. I knew it." And then when I got home off of work and stuff, and we got together, and they was all really nice to me and everything. Clean house, did dishes and everything. And they go, "Mom, I love you so much. Thank you. I want to tell the other kids." And then his sister, we heard him and said, "What? No." She texted me and said, and then here comes my youngest daughter and my youngest son say, "No, she texts me. I was her favorite." And then they kind of like corner me and says, "Who is the favorite?" And I'm just like, every one of you.
All
I
of
go,
you.
"You cannot choose because my love runs deep." So this is just a little stupid story. I just got to tell you.
Oh, that's a good story.
Yeah, it's a good story.
But I think we have, Drew, I think you have a question about, number 9.
Number 9, Number 9. So, what can one ask Hekate for? What offering does Hekate like?
Oh, this is a good question, isn't it? I mean, there's a lot to this. So, what can one ask Hekate for? I would kind of like go back. Like, I want to kind of like, I'll answer that question, but can we just back things up a little bit and
Yes.
say, why, like, why are you asking Hekate for something?
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
why? Like, and what?
Why are you not empowered to go get it yourself? Why does
Right?
Hekate? She's in you. So why are you asking her? Because she is in you.
Because she'll probably ask you that same question. Like, why are you asking me?
Go get it.
And I mean, and what can offerings to Hekate? We did touch upon like Hecate's night in the traditional Hekate supper, which is leaving a food meal at a crossroads. It can be anything. In my book that's coming out in June, I do kind of go through the historical ingredients in the meal in great detail, and I also put in a recipe that anybody can make to make inspired by ancient cheese that most likely was part of this ancient meal. So that's your offering to Hekate. Like, you make the cheese and you leave it to her. I think for me, what I want to say about offerings is that sincerity is what matters over specificity. That it comes from your heart.
Yeah,
And
anything you make
you know what I mean?
yourself
Like,
as well.
you're not saying like, it's not performative. I think Hekate appreciates anything, and we can ask her for her help with anything, because she's not going to do it for us, but she will help us.
Yeah, for sure.
But she appreciates that level of sincerity, because she's really a goddess of no BS, right? Like, she's not, you can't kind of give her a bunch of flowers and glamour her. She's not gonna, that doesn't work. It's it's not applicable with Hekate. So she wants sincerity, and that can take any form. It can take making cheese like they made it thousands of years old and left it in one of her Hekate suppers, or it can be you give her your favorite chocolate bar, or whatever it is.
Anything that comes from the heart, really. Anything that you feel you really have the desire to give her, that means, even if it's something that you really think, oh, I was going to use that, but I think Hekate would really use it. Things like that I give her as well. If I think that maybe, I think I bought that for Hekate, I better give her it, Because she will put things in your head, to buy when you're in thrift stores and things. You'll see a bell and you'll be thinking, why have I to buy that bell? Oh, Hekate wants it.
Exactly. We call it shopping with the goddess, or shopping for Hekate. You'll be out at a thrift store, and then all of a sudden
I did a blue one the other day.
Oh, beautiful.
Oh, that's pretty.
And a purple
Hmm.
a purple crystal ball.
Oh,
It was
beautiful.
£2 out the thrift store.
I love
So
the color.
you wanted it. Well, she got it.
I definitely think she's the goddess of the thrift store.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, my computer just went down. I was like, what?
There's
Stop.
a lot of people saying things as well. Alison says, household scraps, letter, all of it from the heart is for Hekate.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So we're almost to the end, but I want to touch base on what is happening right now with any projects you have besides the book coming out in June. Do you have any workshops, conference you will be doing?
We're staying home and staying focused on Covina, and really supporting the Hecate's Cauldron book that's coming out. The podcast, we generally do 1 or 2 episodes a month, so you can listen to the Keeping Her Keys podcast. We recently launched on Substack, and we're spending a lot of time building up our Substack and so on. I really love Substack. It's a great tool for authors to connect with readers. So we're working on that. And I am also working on a book that will come out in 2027, hopefully.
Oh,
But
wow.
keeping what it's about a mystery for now.
She also has a YouTube channel, guys. I'm going to put it in the chat, okay?
That would be great. 2027, that's a long time, Cyndi. You would have to wait and wait.
It takes a while for me to write my books, like there's a lot of research. And I think especially where any of the spells, rituals, meditations, anything in my books is something that we know works because we've done it in the coven, and we've, see how other people like receive it. And sometimes we kind of adapt it a bit for the books. So, like it takes time
Oh,
to
yeah.
make sure all of the things work. Because I don't put anything in my books that I'm not confident can't be helpful to people. I don't just write spells and send them out into the world. If I'm writing a spell, I know that dozens and dozens of witches have already done this spell with some success. So it takes time for my books to come together like that. And then
we appreciate that too. We really do, because I think a longer author spends on a book, the more they research the resources and everything.
Yeah.
That's good because, like myself, and I'm sure everybody else, we like to have a book that we can actually educate ourselves on, truth, not the fakeness, but the truth. So, yeah, that is very appreciative for 2027. I can wait that long. So, that's okay. But I just want to say thank you, Cyndi. Yes, she's an amazing lady. You really understand Hekate. You really, get it. And you share it with everybody else through your books, through, your courses and workshops, even your interviews and everything. It's been a pleasure just to have you on here and just to let us know how passionate you are about Hekate. And it's really wonderful. I love it. I know Drew is just she's not going to go to sleep tonight. She's going to be up all night.
I won't. Yeah. I'll probably sit and look through all my book again.
Yeah, it's
I'm
probably
definitely
what, 1 o'clock over there?
Can I quickly ask you, what is the Keeper of the Cave? Is that what that one is about? Quickly.
Which one? What do you...
The one with the cave. Keeper of the Cave.
The second edition. Nothing there, Schmidt's the second edition that's coming out.
Right. Okay.
So the Keeping Her Keys second edition.
I'm going to buy them all anyway.
Revised, updated, entering Hecate's cave. This is your
I'm going to get that one
book. This is the book that took 5 years to write, in development of the rituals and the different things in the book and the research. And then this book, I mean, the writing of the book took a couple years, but
Gotcha.
I mean, if you're an herbalist, you know, like that what goes into a book like that is 20 years plus of experience.
Yeah.
I don't have any copies of Entering Hecate's Cauldron yet, any paper copies. But if you kind of go on my link tree, you go to the website, keepingherkeys.com, and then you scroll down and you see the Keeping Her Keys link tree. If you click on there, the publisher has provided us with the first 3 chapters for free. So you
Yeah.
don't have to wait for June to get started. You can read the first 3 chapters
Ooh.
Entering Hecate's Cauldron for free. And follow me on Substack, and because I'm talking and sharing a lot about the book as well. I really love that book.
Brilliant.
And we didn't even touch on my very first book, which was True Magic. So if Hekate is not for you and you're not into goddesses, my very first book was more about planetary magic and didn't, wasn't about Hekate. People are always surprised. I'm like, no, my first book, True Magic, was not about Hekate.
No.
Surprise.
That book is out there as well, too.
True Magic. God, that's, oh man. I think my True Magic is all dusty because it's been so long since I read it. But it's really a good book. I like it. So I mean, a lot of books. Yeah. But we add to the hour, and I just want to say, everybody out there, thank you for coming on Within the Cauldron and having fun with Cyndi and learning from Cyndi, and keep learning from Cyndi, from her books, her courses. Go online, subscribe, read those first 3 chapters of the new book and see what you think of it. I know it's going to be great. So I just happened to saw your email. So yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing here pretty soon, is read the first 3 chapters.
Me too.
But subscribe to our channel, please, if you can. Share it, like it, and we'll see you next time on Within the Cauldron. And Cyndi, I don't want to let you go, but I know we have to. We got to share you with your wife. So lucky lady. But tell your family blessings, and thank you so much, Cyndi. Blessings,
Right.
everybody.
Thank you very much, Cyndi.
Great Goddess, I am so thankful to have you guiding me, protecting me. I am so thankful to have you guiding me, protecting me. I am Great Goddess, I am so thankful to have